Hey, what's up, folks? Ryan here with the DFS 5-pack. Hopefully everybody had a lovely Sunday, was profitable in the world of DFS, enjoyed some football. It is Cyber Monday here at the DFS 5-pack. I will get into our deals momentarily. In the meantime, though, if you can like and subscribe if you haven't done that already, it is sincerely appreciated. We're going to be here to do a cash lineup review from yesterday. It was a good day. It was a good day. Hopefully everybody else had a really good day. Let's talk about it, and then later on we'll be back to talk about the showdown. All right. So this is a cash lineup review again. GPPs are going to be a little bit different depending on where you wanted to go with them. Cash lineup, we're usually a little bit more firm about who it is we're going to play and why. There's always going to be a couple decisions that are going to be left up to the customers, but we usually are pretty firm about who it is that we want to play specifically and why we would be using them in a cash lineup, which is why it's a lot easier to do a review since it's a little bit more set in stone. It's of those Cyber Monday deals that we got going on. First things first, the website link is below, as are the PayPal and Venmo addresses. You can use either one of these for monthly customers or new monthly customers specifically. Sign up for a monthly membership right now. You'll be all set and ready to go for the start of NBA. I will reimburse you 20 of the $30, which means you'll get the next month of football and the first week of NBA for $10. Hell of a deal. Website link is below. Potential annual customers, that is a full calendar year. You get all three sports. Same with monthly customers, all three sports. Memberships through the website are $200. I will send you a $75 reimbursement by the end of the day. Or if you want to pay manually via PayPal or Venmo, the addresses are below. Best deal you can get, lifetime forever customers. We're talking $275, no future payments ever. You get everything for all three sports. You can pay the $275 via PayPal or Venmo. Otherwise, pay through the website and I will send you that reimbursement by the end of the day. If you want just the NBA season, $60. Got 2 spots left available at $60. Use the PayPal or Venmo. NFL for the rest of the year, this includes the playoffs, only $49. You can use the website and I'll reimburse you 20. Otherwise, pay PayPal or Venmo. These are all available for the rest of the day. It is Cyber Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to hop on over at Overlay. Follow me on Instagram. That link is below as well. I already have an overlay pick out today, and I bet bigger on this one than I normally do because I like it a lot. That is available on Instagram right now. If you're not following me on Instagram already, that link is below. Let's talk about today's or yesterday's cash lineup. So we usually go through one of the $25 or the $50 single entry double ups. They're big contests. A lot of people enter them. This is a $25 single entry double up. It's one of the larger ones out there. We got 6,900 entries, essentially, with the top 3,000 making double their money. Placed in 104 out of 6,900 yesterday. So it was a no-sweat day, especially after the first quarter of the Chiefs and Buccaneers games. So what did we do well yesterday? What did we do wrong? Starting at the quarterback position, I put in the write-up, I think you can go with Mahomes. I don't want to pay down on quarterback today because I think the potential of losing out on some of these big money upper tier quarterbacks is too much. A bunch of them were great, though. Kyler Murray was terrible. I saw the funniest tweet yesterday in the morning, and it was telling people to play Murray over Mahomes because of the defensive differences, and it just seems silly. Sometimes you got to take a look at a common sense approach right here. Mahomes was the play yesterday, in my opinion. I said if you needed to get down to Justin Herbert to fit better guys in, you can. But for me specifically, I was leaning towards Patrick Mahomes. And a big part of this one is it's a big game. He's the best player in the NFL. But you can't run on Tampa. You knew he was going to be pass heavy for the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday, which means if you're giving me 40-plus passing attempts with Patrick Mahomes against a secondary that can be got, give me Patrick Mahomes. So it was a priority. I started there. A couple of times I felt like I liked my lineup with Justin Herbert, but my main man, Brad, who does my cash lineup stuff with me, talked me into not wasting my money on Dalvin Cook yesterday. We collabed on that one in the morning, and it became a lot easier to get up to Patrick Mahomes right there. If you're wondering why I didn't play Dalvin Cook, it was because Adam Thielen was out. Now, that might seem counterintuitive to some people, but I thought that the Minnesota offense had a good chance to struggle without their one of their best players, their first down getter. So that's why I hopped off of Cook at that price. Plus, like I said in the write-up, he needs 35-plus points to really burn you, and that's just not an easy day to have. You know what I mean? Like, that is a really tough score to get to. He's good enough to do it, but getting to 35 plus is not an easy score to get to. So start off with Mahomes, and then I had to get into the running back situation. And I was pretty sure that Hines and Hill would be chalk. I thought they'd be a little bit more popular, but I ended up going with Hines and Hill. Hines was good, not great. He was good. Indianapolis played bad, so could have been a little bit better. Lost out in a couple potential goal line carries when Jacoby Brissett rushed them in. But overall, you're satisfied with the 17.5. It's got the fire emoji next to it, so nothing to complain about right there. I was always a little bit nervous about playing or fading Brian Hill, so I just stuck with the chalk cheat guy. Obviously, he was trash. Ito Smith outplayed him. Brian Hill has now been trash in all 3 games where he's been the starting running back. That's worth noting just in case it comes up again next week. And in the game where Atlanta scored 43 points, to have him do nothing in the passing game, not get any goal line work and rush for 55 yards, and that's it, I mean, that is highly, highly disappointing. And then we get down to the flex position. It was always going to be a running back. And the guys that I was debating between were Wayne Gallman, Nick Chubb, and Dalvin Cook. My buddy Brad, who does the cash game lineups with me when we do our members-only customer video, we talked it over for a while Sunday morning. And I was a little scared to fade Cook, but he did a great job of explaining to me why my initial thought process was right. So he kind of taught me off the ledge right there as I was getting a little bit afraid not to play Dalvin Cook. But he's like, you're the one that said it yesterday, that you think they might struggle without Adam Thielen, and they did struggle early. They got back into it, won that game because of the passing game, which did not utilize Cook a lot. He's like, but why would you be afraid of something when you called it out? I'm like, that's a great point, Brad. Thank you for talking me off the ledge right there. So I owe him. We would have won either way because of Tyreek Hill, but it was a lot easier day not utilizing Dalvin Cook. Then it came down to the flex position, and kind of the spot that I was in. We loved Nick Chubb yesterday, and Chubb was fantastic. I also liked Wayne Gallman plenty. You heard me talk about him earlier in the week. Good spot against Cincinnati. And the Giants didn't even play that well. Part of it was the Daniel Jones injury, an Evan Ingram fumble, a kick return, a couple other things that went along with it. And I was either going to go Chubb with Kyle Rudolph or Gallman with Travis Kelce. Kelce and Gallman were fine. They got 34 points, but Rudolph Chubb would have been better. And then I probably would have upgraded Keelan Cole, who wasn't very good. So good lineup. Could have been a lot better. Wasn't going to win GPPs, though, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't big on Derrick Henry. Should have paid more attention. And knowing that DeForest Buckner was out, I would have liked Derrick Henry a lot more. I missed that one. That one's on me. Sometimes you just make mistakes, and that's a mistake on me. So ended up using Gallman, Kelce, who were fine. Nothing special, but they were fine. I mean, ultimately the play of the day, and he was the only guy that was listed in our write-up as a must-play in all GPP, was Tyreek Hill. If you caught me on anything at all week, he was the featured guy on the public video. We brought him up on the second public video. In the write-up, he was the one guy that was featured in both formats as a must-play as Tyreek Hill. So because of that, I'm hoping every one of our customers made money yesterday, which I love. I mean, that's ultimately what we're here to do, is to service you guys, help you guys win. Everybody should have won if you used Tyreek Hill yesterday. If you didn't use Tyreek Hill, I get it. You go down making your own plays, and that's ultimately what you should do. And maybe you didn't like him as much as I did. Maybe once you got to Dalvin Cook that you thought was a necessity, you couldn't get to Tyreek Hill. I get that, guys. I've made plenty of mistakes myself a million different times, and I'll make a million more. Some weeks you just get it wrong. I've been there, done that 8 million times, and I'll make 8 million more mistakes. So we move on to tonight if that's the case. Otherwise, Tyreek Hill was, I think this is the second best day on DraftKings that we've seen. He was phenomenal. He was amazing. He was uncoverable. I gave you all the reasons all week long why I liked him. I'd never expected this in a million years. But he was really, 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 really good, and he made cashing very, very, very easy yesterday. So I'm going to skip the last 2 receivers and get back to him in a second. Why the Saints defense? I mean, I'm actually surprised they weren't a little bit more popular. They became a priority for me once you put Denver in there with no quarterback. And I did have some people say, well, how much do you think they're going to throw? Well, I don't think they're going to throw a lot. But if it wasn't for a turnover, they would have gotten shut out. I kind of thought there was a good chance they would get shut out. Shutout's 10 points. You knew that New Orleans would score on Denver. So, I mean, what was the base here? Like a minimum of 10 points? Like I thought 10 points was the floor. And if on the defensive fumble recovery, the 2 interceptions, they returned a pick six. I mean, I thought 25 points was extremely reasonable. So 14 was not great for what I thought was possible, but it was kind of not much above what I thought the floor was. So we had plenty of money because of the cheap running backs. Just play the Saints right here, I thought. All right, so then the last 2 wide receiver spots. And, I liked Keenan Allen. It made roster construction too difficult to get there, and he wasn't great. He was outscored by Mike Evans. So why did I end up going with Mike Evans when my thought process on the Tampa Bay wide receivers is that it's going to be tough to get to either of them? Because there was 2 potential game scripts right here that I thought were possible yesterday. One, we have ourselves a really, really close game, which it ended up being, but it wasn't a really close game, obviously, if you watched it, in which case it's going to be high scoring because everybody in the world knew that Kansas City would put up some points because they put up points every single week, right? You knew that Tampa Bay, because they have a tendency to get pass happy, when the Chiefs got an early lead, would get a little bit pass happy themselves. Evans even got a little bit banged up in this game. But ultimately, the reason I used Mike Evans is because I knew that they would get throw heavy. I knew they would take some deep shots to him. And I also know that he's a focal point when they get closer to the red zone, that I thought he would catch a minimum of 1 touchdown. I thought he had kind of a base of 10 to 15 points because I was very confident he would score. And I wanted to make sure that I got my exposure right there. Now, he scored twice. Overall, Brady, who's just not that good anymore, missed him on a bunch of throws. And it could have been better. You got to feel a little fortunate. You got the 2 touchdowns. But, when I was talking this one over, I liked him more and more as the morning progressed. Then the last thing up was the last spot. And I never loved Keelan Cole because I just didn't know what to expect out of Mike Glennon. He fit. I kind of liked Andy Isabella, who did about the same. I liked Gabriel Davis a little bit, but I liked Isabella more, so I was never actually going to use Gabriel Davis, which would have been the better play right there. I used Keelan Cole because I thought he'd be relatively popular at 23%. He was decently popular. Matt brought up, I can't even think of his name right now, on the show we did yesterday, the guy that went off from the wide receiver perspective, and that would have been a great play. I wasn't even on my radar, so Matt was definitely had a nice GPP call on that one. I just can't think what his name is off the top of my head for some reason. So Cole was the last guy. I never felt great about it, but I really liked the rest of this lineup. Ultimately, the move would have been take Kelsey out and put in Rudolph, take Gallman out and put in Chubb, and then just see where it falls with the rest of the money there for Keelan Cole. I got nervous not playing Kelsey, though, because even though I love Tyreek Hill, I mean, you saw the way that the defense adjusted. Like, Kelsey started to eat later in the game before Kansas City started playing terribly because they rolled all the coverage over to Tyreek Hill, and that's kind of why I wanted both of them. I figured Mahomes would throw for over 400 yards yesterday. That just seemed to be too painfully obvious because they couldn't run the ball in Tampa Bay. And I wanted to make sure that I got the love of those guys because it's not crazy to think that Tyreek Hill goes for 45 and Kelsey goes for 30. That, some of those points shift over in the direct direction. Travis Kelsey almost had a passing touchdown, slipped out of his hands. They ended up kicking a field goal on that possession, but, he was close to being really, really good. And I was nervous about not playing him. He was 29% owned. And if he has a little better day right there, which is not crazy thought process, it would have been nice to have some exposure to that one. So, again, overall, solid day. That puts a lot of our customers right around 9-3 on the year. I know Brad and Andy, guys who follow the write-ups really, really closely. That's what their record is. I think they're one better than me. I think I'm only 8-4 on the year, but we got some weeks left, and then we got the playoffs. $49 gets you the rest of the year. Otherwise, go grab yourself a monthly membership. That way you're up and ready to go for NBA when it starts here in less than a month. Very, very inexpensive. I think that's your best move. Otherwise, actually, annual is the best move. $125 for a full year, all 3 sports. You're not going to get a much better deal than that, guys. Either way, subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Like the video. I always appreciate y'all doing that. And we'll talk to you guys about the showdown here in just a little bit.